Hi, I'm Brown. Welcome to my video. In this video, I want to show you how to take apart underneath your kitchen sink. A lot of times we need to learn this trade because our kitchen sink can get clogged. And even after countless times of plunging it, liquid Drano, snaking it, it can still not drain properly. So by us taking apart the kitchen sink and learning how, we also get to inspect the plumbing underneath for any damage, any clogs, or any wear and tear. First, I want to start telling you, I want to teach you about the different pieces that make up underneath the kitchen plumbing. Here I have a double sink. It's called a double sink because there are two outlets over top of the sink here. There go one sink for that one and one sink for this one. But it's all one line. It leads down into the sewer system with one line. So it's both sinks connected to one line. You will know this in the other videos that I made. Okay, so let's first find out what size plumbing you have underneath your sink. For standard, the plumbing is 1/2 inch. That's standard. But just in case your size might be a little bit bigger, it's best to measure. Give me a moment. I have my measuring tape right here, and we're going to take off a piece and measure it just in case we have to go to the hardware store to replace it. I brought with me a 5-gallon bucket. I have a 5-gallon bucket here just in case it starts to drip water. Well, my sink is not clogged right now, so I don't have to worry about too much water splashing down on me. I'm going to inspect my sink before a problem arises. This is PVC plumbing, so you can unscrew it by hand or you can use a rag. I'm going to use my hands. We want to unscrew counterclockwise. There's a little bit of dripping. Now that I have this piece open here, I can take my tape measure and measure the inside of the pipe. That says 1.5 inches. So now I know what size pipes I need when I go to the hardware store. 1.5 inches. This long piece here is what connects the pipe to the one line going down. We have a line that runs straight down, but we have a pipe that has an intersection on it to go to the other sink. Now, if you have a garbage disposal, you might have an extra one of these that goes over to the garbage disposal. Now we're going to learn what each part is while we're taking it off. Let's move that out the way. Let's unscrew this here. The P-trap is probably going to have water in it. So we'll put our bucket here. Oh, wrong way. Yep. This will also allow us to clean our plumbing while we're down here. My pipes are a little bit old, so I'm going to upgrade them by putting on new pieces. That way I don't have to worry about any clogs no time soon. My pipes will be nice and fresh. It has a fresh start. I think maybe you should replace your plumbing or do this cleaning every 6 months. It's almost like springtime cleaning your house. This part here is a little adapter part. This slides on into a nut. This nut connects up into your sink. It drains down into the other pipe and it crosses over to the pipe that's over this side. If we measure the inside of this here, we'll also see that it's 1.5 inches. I went and bought a few kits at Home Depot, and we're going to reassemble and replace all of these pieces. That knowledge will be valuable to have just in case we run into a problem with our kitchen sink or if it ever starts leaking. Now, at Home Depot, I was able to find another piece just like this one. And it's a 6-inch thread strainer tailpiece. It's a 6-inch thread strainer one piece. This is a thread one piece also, but this one here is a more up-to-date design because it has the bolt already included. So there's no extra pieces and I don't have to worry about it leaking. See? This old piece here, you will have to worry about it leaking because it moves around. This is just one piece. So the piece that comes off of my first piece, off my first sink here, is a 6-inch thread one piece. This screws right back on just like this. Just make sure your bolt is even before you screw it on. That way it doesn't leak. So you have to really make sure that it's going on the correct way. That means that it's even all the way around. That way you can prevent it from leaking. Now you can go off of whatever you take off is whatever you put on. This 6-inch thread one piece, it's not 6 inches, but this thread one piece, or 2 pieces because it has a bolt on it, it seems to be a lot shorter than the one I just put on. So I can put this up against that there and strike a line and cut the rest of that off. That way I can have the same length as the piece I take off. That's called common sense plumbing. When you're not an advanced plumber, which I'm not, I always just put on what I take off. And since this piece is a few inches, I'm just going to put it up against like this and make my mark right here. I'll make my mark right here and cut it off now. That way I can put it back on and it'll be ready to reassemble. Now I just got done cutting a piece off and I use this as a template for my new piece. This is common sense plumbing. You put on what you take off. And you also use the same size of what you put on and take off. I just matched this up to the old piece and I cut it off. This tailpipe comes with a nice little rubber washer inside that makes the plumbing tight and stops it from leaking. Now we can just screw that on. Just make sure that you're even with the threads. Seems to be about right. And we just screw it on like that. Just tighten it with your hands. Don't over tighten it, just tighten it with your hands. Seems to be off a little bit. Yeah, it does a little bit. That's okay. There you go. Perfect. You can always notice when you got the threads incorrect because it doesn't screw on easy. When it flows on and screws on nice and easy, that means that you have the threads correctly in place. And I am so glad that I'm replacing this because over the years, look at the scum and buildup and how nasty that is. Imagine what type of bacteria is just living inside of that plumbing there. Now for our next piece is the double bow waste outlet. It's a double bow waste outlet, 1.5 inch. It says it on this, and it also says it on the package. So far, we have 2 packets that we put on so far for a double sink. The first package was the threaded strainer tailpipe, and we cut that to size from the size that we took off. Or you can do it the other way, just match it off and cut as you go. The second piece that we went out to the hardware store to get was the double sink bowl in outlet waste. One and a half inch. And there's another one, but we didn't get to that yet. Let's put this on first. We got the washer that comes with it. We'll put the washer right inside. And just make sure you get the threads on. Make sure you have the washer on correctly. The washer is going to go inside of the other pipe like this. For a double sink, there's going to be an outlet here on the side of it, and that's what's going to go out to the other sink. So we want to push this down, the washer down. Now we want to put on our bolt. Make sure you have the threading correctly and just tighten it. Don't over tighten it too much yet because we don't know if we're going to need some room to move around. Now in our double bowl sink in outlet waste, we have the other pipe that goes off to our other sink. Is this long pipe right here. Some of the pieces you might want to reuse, but I just decided, since it didn't cost that much, that I'll just replace all of it, which will save me time later on having to replace that part. I'll just do everything new. Now we're going to take this arm off. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the tailpipe. We're going to put it up against the other piece. This the old one, this the new one. And then we're going to cut off what we don't need. we're going to use the old pipe as a template to how long it should be. Give me a moment to make my cut. Now I'm back with the arm here. This arm here, I cut it down to size. When I took the old piece off, I measured it to the same size, and I'm going to put it back on. Now, sometimes you can salvage some of the pieces that's already on here. So this is mainly a straight piece, so there's not too much you have to worry about it leaking when there's a straight piece like this, because it doesn't have any bends in it. The water just runs straight down. I didn't get an extra adapter piece from the sink outlet down to start my plumbing. I don't have one for this size. So I'm going to keep the one on that's already on here already. But I am going to inspect it to make sure that it's clean and that there's nothing clogging it and there's no cracks in it. And that's for this piece that's going to be over here. So this piece slides into the outlet adapter piece and it goes onto my other sink there. This piece came with it's an in outlet pipe, and that goes on right up here. Let me get the boat and washer that goes on it. Here's the old one right here, and here's the new one right here. We just slide it on, put the boat on first, slide the washer on after you put on the boat. The washer helps hold the boat in place while you connect your other pieces. And this is also a 1/2 inch. And on the arm, the end that screws into this pipe here, you put your washer on first. Nope, you put your boat on first. I'm sorry about that. Then you put your washer on. We're gonna slide it on without tightening the boat in order to get it matched up with this piece here, and we kept it a little bit loose. That way we can screw it on. Let's push it into the hole first. Then we'll push it up to the boat here, and then we'll screw it on to screw the bolt down. And then we'll not tighten it all the way yet. Before we do a lot of tightening, we want to just make sure. If you can get a close up here of the washer slides into the pipe and it slides into the other pipe. And then you push your bolt down onto the washer and you evenly screw it on. A lot of times when your thread is not on there correctly, it's kind of hard to screw it on, but when it screws on easy, then you know it's correct. And you can also look at it on the sides to make sure that it's threading on there correctly. Make sure it's tight, don't over tighten it, just make sure it's tight. And now you can screw your other piece on tight too. Tighten it by hand, it should be enough. Basically, you will want to replace your P-trap here. Your P-trap is like one of the first pieces that go bad. Also here where your arms are, where the connectors are, and where your washers are. A lot of times you just need to replace the washers that's inside of there. That's what goes bad. PVC plumbing kind of stays around and stay good for a long time. So here I got another 1/2 inch. It's the S-trap. I said P-trap, but it's the S-trap. And it includes a 20.5 floor tube. That's this piece that's running down into the floor right there. And I don't need such a long piece, but it's maybe good to have one on hand just in case. I was calling it the S-trap. Like I said, I'm not a plumber, but I do have common sense. And a lot of things is about common sense. It's called the S-trap because it's in the shape of an S. And this is also 1.5 inches. Whatever you measure the inside of the pipe to be is what you grab at the hardware store. 1.5. Now we're going to take off the S-trap. We're going to be mindful of this tube running down. We're not going to replace that because that's been glued on to keep a tight fitting there. It's been glued on. So we're just going to replace the S-trap, but we're not going to replace the tube that runs down into the basement plumbing and out from the house. This is nasty. This needs to be replaced. It's pretty nasty in there. And this will last me for years. I won't have to worry about my kitchen sink clogging for a long, long time. And now we take off the washer. And it looks like the washer was put on the wrong way. I'm not too sure. Boy, that stinks. That is nasty. I'm glad I'm replacing this. Okay. So let's grab the washers that's inside our boat. We have both of them. Let's take this nut off here. And let's put the nut on first. See, this is going to be put inside of this pipe here. And I'm wrong. This is going to go on my S-trap. I do apologize about that. I'm jumping ahead of myself. And so we're going to put this down in here like this, and now we push up with the washer like that. And now we're going to add our first piece. Before we screw it on tight, we'll just put it on like that. And we need another bolt. Put this on like that. And we put our other washer on like this. We push it up like that. That holds the bolt in place. This right here has the bolt already built into it. So we don't have to worry about putting a washer on because it's built with the washer already inside of it. And this will be the last part of our plumbing up underneath our sink assembly. So we're going to put the end up here on the pipe like this, and we're going to put the end up on our other pipe like that, and we're going to lightly screw it together. Make sure our thread is on correctly, and we're looking for it to screw on nice and even. Not going to tighten it yet. Now we slide our other piece on. We give it a little bit of turn like this, and we can start tighten our piece like this. And as we tighten, and we'll notice how easy it goes on. That way, that's how we know that we're doing it correctly, that we have the threads right. When you tighten it on easy, when it goes on easy. All right, and this one here. I am so glad that you came by to watch me put this together. And it looks like we have it all assembled. We followed our own directions. We put on what we took off. We didn't over tighten the threads, and we made sure that it screwed on easy without forcing it on. We have new plumbing put on here. We saved a lot of money by not getting a plumber to come here and do this for us. And if we had a clogged sink, we know how to take apart our S-trap, clean it out, or replace it. This is a very big achievement for us because we were able to use common sense and get this back together. I'm going to turn on the water for a second and we'll see how it turns out. The water is on and there is no leaks. It looks great. Hey, I'm Brown. You guys have been great. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch my video. Please like my video and leave a comment below if this was able to help you in any way. I really appreciate you guys watching my channel. And like I always say, stay safe, stay dry, and stay tuned to the next one. And if you would like to order this, I have a link down below that has this already, but remember, it's for 1.5 inch sink, okay? All right, you've been great. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.